going to be doing a build video thing for a friend. Let's see here. What do we got? I don't like these. I'm not going to talk about it. 1 terabyte Samsung SSD, a fan, no one cares. CX 650M power supply, modular, thank you. A gigabyte Z170 MX Gaming, blah, blah, blah. And a gorgeous MSI 1070. She says that there's support in Asian. That's cool. And power it all, Core i7, you know, the 6th gen one everyone buys. And then some RAM, no one cares. Okay. The best thing about this is the case. It's this X Qber cube case. I'll go ahead and open it up and show you what it looks like. 1 second. Let me grab my knife off my Mauser. Where's that button? There it is. Let's go ahead and open her up. As Rodney Reynolds from Canada says, be careful not to cut too deep or you may damage the product. You know, so cut deep. This is probably the most badass case I've ever worked on. Very nice. Let's take a look inside. Looks like the panels come off with, you know, standard thumb screws, which is no surprise. So let's see what's inside. A bag of screws, manual, and a white bellied cake. Front panel connectors are standard USB 3.0, USB 2.0, HD audio, and all your power buttons and stuff. It's good. I believe I see thumb screws for the top here, so that means we should be able to remove the top. Okay, so removing the top panel. Looks like there's these 2 side screws. Woo! Pop that top like that. Holy cow, the whole thing comes off. That's pretty cool. Take a look. It all comes out like that. That's going to be pretty helpful for putting together the main mush of everything. If you want to leave the front part on, you can, but there's 2 screws you can remove down here. When you remove those screws, you can actually fold it all the way down, which is pretty sweet. Can't think of a case I've worked on like that before. It's pretty nice. Going to be putting in this nice little red fan in the back here. Doesn't come with one. A cool Canadian I know is pretty much just throwing this in for free. It's a nice guy. Some cool features to note is giant hole for any type of backplate you might need for any cooler. And then these nice removable drive bays for any types of hard drives. You could put thousands of terabytes. Well, maybe someday. 5.25-inch CD drive and an SSD mount here, and I believe a floppy, like a media bay reader thing. I believe by default the case comes with a 140mm plastic fan. It doesn't look very good, but I'm sure it works fine. Hopefully it's quiet. Thankfully you have a nice socket adapter for the standoffs. It's really nice to have them because it makes putting standoffs very smooth. It's great. Overthread stuff because the metal's so cheap. That's not really a bad thing. It just is, I prefer a little bit tighter build tolerance and stuff. So yeah, doesn't the bird. Got that motherboard and backplate in down here. Put the cooler on now. Also might want to note that the clearance is cancer between the hard drive rack and power supply. So pre-install any modular cables beforehand, route them through the back, and you won't have a problem. One practice I like to do over the years is just plug in 24-pin power and 12 volt, and just the power for the power button, power supply, and 1 stick of RAM, just to make sure your motherboard and everything is good out of the box before putting together everything, doing cable management, the whole bamboozle. So let's see if I embarrass myself on camera. Or, well, sometimes you just get unlucky, but yeah, there it goes, it's posting. So, well, you don't have to worry about that. Well, you could put big hard drives in the bottom of the case. There's a nice handy dandy tray-way slidey SSD install-y thing. It's pretty. There's that 1 TB. There we go. This is the best tool to install stuff with, because you can just put it on things and it really argues with you about everything. This MB came with some silver, which kind of goes along with the pink, say the 6 gigabit cables. I'm putting all 4 of them in because it lets the user who gets this computer have upgrade potential, and I have a box of these anyway, I don't need to keep any. So always do that if you're going to be selling a computer. It's a good idea. To have a lower point of where the cables come to the motherboard for the front panel, you might want to run things like USB and the front panel connectors through this hole here. Probably can't run HD audio because that has to go all the way to the back of the motherboard. USB 3.0 depends on where your header is. I'm going to try to go through to see if I can make it shorter and out of the way of the graphics card. I kind of like this case because normally when you have to plug in front panel, like power light, power button, etc., and USB, you have like a case going this way from the bottom. You have to keep your hand in there, try to see stuff. But here you have a nice cliff. You have You have really nice access to these things, and you can simply plug them in. Plenty of light, and it's really nice. And it's so pleasant after building so many crap cases before. And this run goes down here and through the hole. Now it's going to limit how far this thing can open, but you could just pull the slack down and then just disconnect these if you're planning on pulling it all the way forward. So we're now left with cable managing this entire side. Only have to run one SATA, one power to the SSD. Very simple, not a lot of hard drives. It's always easy. And since the case side is going to be flat with a window, you want to have it as clean as possible. And you're also not going to have a lot of room for thick cables, probably not much more than even this per se. And there is a little bevel here in the case for sliding your 12 volt under, which is unfortunate because this motherboard, it wouldn't work. I've tried it already, it doesn't fit. So hopefully this won't have a problem with closing the panel. I do notice that the glass doors have a little tiny like 2mm bevel, so hopefully it won't be a problem. So anyways, I'll be right back and clean all this up. So we now have the cables cleaned up the best we can. You can't really hide them. There's nowhere to hide them, especially with a clear panel where everything's showing. But SATA's connected, and slip it around really quick. And at this point, it's okay to go ahead and screw in the panel so it doesn't go up and down anymore. This PCI power is going right up through the same port as all of this stuff here. It'll be a really nice clean drop once I put the graphics card in, which is now the final step. Stupid things where you got to unscrew this and then pull it up and then put the graphics card in and screw it in and then put it back. Oh well, it happens a lot on these smaller cases. Pretty much done. Now it's just time to install Windows. What's nice is even for a cheap case with relatively low quality metals, doors catch in really nice. Show on this side here. Graphics card fit in quite nicely. One of the things I appreciate is when a case manufacturer will put plenty of plastic everywhere, because some people are building a computer for someone else, and it's nice to protect the computer while you manhandle it and do dirty things to it. So it's great that this plastic's everywhere and it hasn't fallen off or anything, and it's nowhere too obtrusive. So I like that. All right, got Windows 10 all cloned over from my image with SysPrep, all prepared. All I got to do is drivers and then pack up the box. Thanks for watching. Bye.